Hello, listening people.
Witam.
Okay. Look, I don't speak Polish, so I don't know what you said just then.
You don't know what I... Oh, who are you?
I'm Ryan.
I'm Bartek.
Hi, Bartek, I'm Ryan.
Ryan, I'm Bartek. You are on Spit and Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces.
Holy crap! What's that? Do tell.
It's our show, stupid.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. So what do we do on our show, Mr. Ryan Bartek?
No, my name's Bartek Ryan.
Oh.
We watch movies that are unappreciated in time.
Oh.
As opposed to not in time. And we talk them up as if they are... Rewind. We talk about them as the great movies that they are.
Yes. So what we do on Spit and Polish Presents Unappreciated Masterpieces is we get those forgotten gems, those unappreciated masterpieces, those wonders of cinema that have been forgotten by the general masses, and we bring them to you. We shine a torch on these forgotten movies. And what's the film we're watching today, Bartek?
Today, Ryan, the film we are watching is Fajna w niego babka.
I do not speak Polish, so this is... Look, we've been doing this for how many months, how many episodes? It's really embarrassing to me as an independent man that that I do not speak Polish and you keep speaking Polish at me. I don't understand. What's the movie?
Okay, Witam means welcome.
Hi.
Hi. The movie that we are watching today is... Sorority Boys.
Sorority Boys? That doesn't have the word welcome in it.
It should be like Fraternity Boys.
Of course, we do not do this alone. Well, sometimes.
We've
but
done
not
it twice.
Today.
Twice you've done it.
Not today. Not this episode.
What?
We are doing the great movie Sorority Boys, and I thought the only guest that we can have on for this feminist masterpiece is, of course, Grace Brown.
Hello.
Yay, she's back!
Yay!
Hurrah!
We have not seen you since Bend It Like Beckham.
What wonderful days.
That's like episode 6 or something.
That's a while ago. So how have things been since Bend It Like Beckham? Have you become a 2-time world karate champion?
No, I haven't become a 2-time world karate champion. I've only become a 1-time world karate champion.
Oh,
I know.
Because only one championship has happened since, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
Fair
If you
enough.
followed the sport, you'd know that.
and we, of course, brought you on for this episode because I've had this DVD of Sorority Boys since DVDs came out. And I've not known you that long. This is like one of the first DVDs my parents bought because they like, oh, this looks like a silly, fun movie. They probably bought this and Bend It Like Beckham together. And
Package deal.
I thought when I was, how old would I have been? Like 10?
What year?
No, 2002.
2002,
Oh, 9.
you would have been 9.
Like when I was 9, 10, I was thinking, Sorority Boys, This reminds me of Grace Brown, who I've yet to meet.
Who at this time is like 8? 2002, we said?
Yeah, 8.
Oh no, I'm 7.
7 years old.
7 years old.
7-year-old Grace.
You know, this DVD box cover says that it has medium-level sex scenes.
Medium.
Now, there was a really intense movie called The Terminator, which I believe only had a low-level sex scene.
And this is exactly like Terminator.
No. Terminator's low-level. This is medium-level.
Well, this is
Medium.
the spiritual
We're
successor
building
to
up.
Terminator.
Okay, so Sorority Boys is the film, ladies and gentlemen, and as I mentioned, Sorority Boys is a feminist classic. It is a great tale. One might say a tale beyond tales, a tale that transcends time, dimension, and space. It is a tale as old as time, perhaps maybe even older. And this movie says everything that every movie should say ever. And this movie's probably the most groundbreaking one we've done, wouldn't you say, Bartek?
Oh, yeah, man. The
This
ground's
movie-
cracked.
This movie has dogs, it has boobs, it has gender bending, it questions morality, it has possible rape, it has everything that...
It doesn't, does it?
Oh,
Oh no.
it does. As we can guess, Grace, you haven't watched the movie, have you?
I think I watched it.
When you were young?
Yeah, like years ago.
Okay, so
by accident.
okay, you're gonna remember it when it comes on because I hadn't watched this movie since 2009, and I remembered it pretty well once watching it. So this movie has everything. But why I say this movie is the most groundbreaking? Yeah, sure, all those things are pretty groundbreaking. But this movie ended sexism.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. Have you seen sexism since this movie? That's right, it hasn't happened. It's gone. This movie did one thing that no other film could do: destroy sexism. I mean, patriarchy dismantled.
Well, I thought.
Yeah?
Whoa.
Well, if anything, could
Yeah, the patriarchy's
dismantle.
gone. It's gone. Dismantled. Destroyed. Sorority Boys came in like a wrecking ball.
The women of Bended by like Beckham would be so proud.
They helped this movie because Bend It Like Beckham needed more men dressed up as women playing soccer.
No, it absolutely.
While this
didn't.
movie has men dressed up as women playing gridiron. Oh yeah. Grace gives a discerned look like, that doesn't happen. Grace, this movie has everything. It even has Lex Luthor himself, Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville.
Wait a second. Is American football and gridiron the same thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is, of course.
And
Emotional.
the front cover has a joke on it too. It's at the top, look closer, and then in brackets, not that close. It's like you look really close, and then it's like, hey man, you're being a bit of a perv. Don't look that close. It's a funny little joke.
Yeah, someone took at least 2 minutes to think of that.
So we're gonna no longer take 2 minutes to get to this classic. We're gonna start this now. So
Well, don't say now. You have to do the countdown first.
No. There's always a countdown, Bartek, because this movie's had me counting down for years. All right, we're gonna start this in 3, 2, 1. Play. Nope.
No, he faked you out.
Again. 3, 2, 1. Play. Oh, we're here. Touchstone. They touch my stone. Remember, sexism is over. Yep.
Touchstone Pictures also released Wild Hogs.
Wow. I'm emotionally enthralled by that piece of information.
Yep. N formation.
My formation.
Check out all this history you have right here. It starts off with the opening credits, but it's like world building the setting, the university of the film.
Wow. I'm enthralled. Like, I can't keep my eyes off. Look, oh my god, it's a man! Is that foreshadowing, Grace? Do you know what foreshadowing is?
Yes, I know.
It's when the movie
Don't
goes.
explain what.
It's when the movie goes from black and white to color.
Oh god.
Duh! Did you not know that? Now, Grace, you're missing out because you haven't seen this movie in a while. This guy talking has the greatest voice ever. Like Bartek, could you do an impersonation of how he sounds?
Boo-ah, boo-ah, boo-ah.
Oh no, give us actual dialogue.
You do not interrupt the meeting.
Yeah, he kind of talks like that. He talks like this. I can't even do
He
it.
looks like he would talk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like Will Brooks.
He sounds
our
like
first ever guest.
He sounds like the voice I was doing, but also kind of more dumb jockey, which is funny because he's not a dumb jock.
But he is rich, so
He's
I guess
very
he
rich.
has a he's like, hey, I will not tolerate this during my ceremony. It's great. This guy is, of course, the one I'm talking about with the voice is the antagonist. Spoiler alert. He's so antagonistic. He's probably in the film for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, he's like a background kind of antagonist.
Like, he causes the sorority boys to become sorority boys.
Yeah, it's to the point where like his name is Spencer, and throughout the movie they talk about it. And they say Spencer, and you're like, oh, Spencer, that's the name of the leader of the group, right? There's never a point where they're like, he's the one that messed it up. They always say Spencer, so like you just have to remember.
Has there ever been a good person called Spencer? Has there been a hero called Spence?
Spence, maybe, but not Spencer. Spencer is very much either the nerd or the antagonist.
Yeah, rich boy.
Rich
Well,
boy.
he's kind of both-ish.
Oh yeah, he's definitely both.
I don't know so much about how good his grades are, but he's definitely, yeah.
He has
Dog.
a dog that we will
He's
see for
fraternity.
2 scenes.
Well, there's the first one done.
Oh, look, it's everybody's favorite plot device.
Alive.
Dildo catapult.
Yeah.
He uses a dildo catapult.
Of course he does. Their fraternity is KOK. So...
And their sorority is DOG.
Right.
So cock and dog.
Of course
Cock
it is.
dog. DOG.
Also, Grace, do you think it would be funny if the people from the DOG house were called dogs for the whole movie?
Because that's what they're called for the whole movie.
Of course they were gonna.
The original
They were-
title of this movie was called Dog Catchers.
Oh.
Because throughout the movie they play a little game called Dog Catcher in which they come in and put a net over an ugly woman from the dog sorority and
Which
then
will happen in
throw
about-
them out on the street
It'll
like
ha-
animals.
It'll happen in about a minute, actually.
Grace says that if only this was a visual podcast, because the look on your face, Grace, just says it all.
I am
It says-
horrified.
Yeah, well, to end sexism, you must be sexist, because it has to have sexism to end sexism, because if there is no sexism to end sexism, I mean, how do we know it was there in the first place?
It's like
It's like if a
Get
tree...
Corona in a can? Because he's got a can of Corona, and I don't know if you can get Corona in a can.
It was early 2000s. It was a different time.
yeah, this was like the same year as Scooby-Doo.
So this dog now is gone. We never usually see it again. The dog sniffs out women, primarily from their pussy, and runs to the hot ones for him to hit on them. So his dog is his actual wingman. Isn't that great?
How does the dog know that they're attractive?
I
Are they
guess-
attractive by the dog's standards?
No, I guess in this movie's universe, women's vaginas give off a different kind of fragrance depending how hot you are. And if you give off the right kind of fragrance for the dog to run towards it, I guess... I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yep, oh, here it is. Dog catcher, and they're all yelling it. They're like, dog catcher! And oh, there she is.
She's not unattractive. in
She's
any
just
way.
a
No, no,
party pooper.
It's because she's from the DOG house.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the main love interest woman, who's of course...
For one of the characters.
For
yeah.
one of them. No, for all of them, why not? She's a social justice warrior. Now, in case you don't know what a social justice warrior is, they're an extinct race of people that fought for equality, but also kind of helped in not giving equality. I don't know what that's about. It's a bit awkward. But they fought for it and against it, I guess, without intentionally doing so. And she's one of these legendary warriors.
I see.
Too bad they're not around today. I would like to have one on the show to hear their opinion.
So, like, the type specifically is more like the women's rights?
Yeah.
Or- yeah.
Women's rights, she's up for general rights, like, I don't know, mainly women, I think. I don't think she cares about the poor.
This movie does touch on an aspect of, you know, both.
Such as something.
While you were talking, we saw 4 pairs of tits.
I like how you counted how many pairs of
Someone
tits.
has to. And if
That's
it
a
has to be me-
defective vibrator. Like, if
No,
you
she
just hit
stamped
it...
on it.
No, but it shouldn't explode. Like, they shouldn't, like, explode sparks.
Okay, this is a little bit disgusting, but they had like a bin of dildos that had been thrown at them.
Yeah,
Just
remember that
boil
bin of
them and
dildos.
sell them.
That's not a red herring, by
That's
the way.
not a red
Of
herring.
course it isn't.
That's a
Why?
major plot device.
Nice. Also, our 3 mains, I think about 2 of them look far too old for college.
Well, no, there is a joke about one of them. He's been there for 9 years.
Oh yeah, why wouldn't he have been, of course.
And the other one, what, Michael Rosenbaum, like Lex Luthor, it's because he's wearing a wig. Like, throughout this movie, he's wearing a wig because he was doing the television show Smallville, where he was Lex Luthor, and he had a shaved head. So he said, I want the worst looking wig that you've got. And they gave him the worst one that they had. And that's
Excellent.
probably why he looks significantly older, because he also looks incredibly weird. Like, you know he's bald, and they've just shoved something on his head. It takes away from his real age. I don't know how old he is. I imagine he's like 45.
Okay. One of them looks like a poor man's Paul Wright.
Check out this scene.
Yeah, that's Paul. That's Michael Rosenbaum. Or
Is that
Michael Rudd and Paul Rosenbaum. Oh yeah. So the Walk of Shame.
I
there-
remember this bit.
Of course you do. Memories?
I think this
Flashbacks?
Yes, flashbacks.
Where it's like, oh, I
Okay.
hated when I had to do the Walk of Shame personally, and
Okay.
there was a man with a photograph.
That frat brother, whatever they call
Looked like
him,
Ben
he-
Affleck?
No, he looked like he looks like a Mormon because he's got like
Yeah.
the proper hair and like the whitest smile I've ever seen.
The photo guy.
Yes, the photo guy, and also the dude who screamed "dog catcher" like he was the mask, like he was wearing the mask in Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Oh yeah. Oh, and here is, I don't know what he's supposed to be. Like, he's
Is
supposed to be
that
like this
right?
1950s looking weasel guy.
He's got like over-gelled Edward Cullen vampire hair. He doesn't look.
Oh my
good.
god, could you imagine him in Twilight? Like, his character as Edward instead, where he's actually
Jimmy?
just trying... Yeah, Jimmy. And he's just trying to, like... Well, I guess there would be no difference between Twilight and this if you shoved his character in there, because they're all trying to get with Bella against her will. I guess it would make
Not
sense.
against her will.
Some of the time. Be honest. Some of the times, Bella's just like... Well, I have to get the voice right. I'm not racist. So I did not breathe through my nose. enough.
We have to acknowledge the fact that Spencer just established that the black KOK's name is Big Johnson. Because it's not mentioned later on, and it really adds to the movie. Remember that this person who's in a place called Cock is named Big Johnson.
Oh, I like throughout the movie they do different styles like this, where they have like still images as joke things, like cutaway gags. They just kind of stop with these gags halfway through the movie, and they just never return to them again. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I actually really like these cutaway gags. I thought it was quite interesting, but then they just like, nah, we're done. No more cutaway gags.
And Family Guy started around this time. Oh,
This
no.
inspired Family Guy, which also ended sexism.
Actually, did Family Guy start in the late 90s?
Nope.
Oh. No, Family Guy was definitely after this, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So they went with the cutaway gag and they went a bit far.
I think the reason they like cut away on the the
Look.
single photo like montage gags
Because
is
they
because
couldn't
they've gone
afford
so
footage.
hard in this 1 minute with them.
Yeah. That guy that they just cut away to is...
He's in everything.
He's in Just Shoot Me, isn't he? He's the guy in Just Shoot Me, I'm pretty sure. Like, the janitor in Just Shoot Me. And he's a janitor in this. So does that mean David Spade could be in this universe, thus making this the same universe as Just Shoot Me and Dickie Roberts?
I hope so.
Could you imagine Dickie Roberts just walking through here being like, yeah, I'm a former child star, and just like he parties with the frat boys and they can't tell if he's a man or a woman either. Like he joins them, like he's their fourth one, but he doesn't wear any dresses. It's just his hair that confuses all of them. Because David Spade has pretty girly hair. Look at this guy in like the left corner.
That's the Mormon.
The
Looks
Mormon
like his
looks.
better explode.
The Mormon looks
Look at
fucking
him.
angry.
Oh my god.
Well, Jimmy just looks upset. Like, I feel sorry for Jimmy. That's a phrase I'll use a lot in this movie. I feel sorry for Jimmy.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
lost the money or the money was stolen.
Yeah, so
They've
what
been
happened was
framed.
Spence framed them. Like, he stole the money. He's the only other one with the key. Which is, why don't they just say, we'll investigate both of you. Neither of you can be in charge. We can't trust the other guy with the key to be the honest one either. So wouldn't it be even better if this was like a movie where Spence is also kicked out? He has to dress like a woman too. But he's got his own independent plot in which he's doing the exact same thing they are, but from an antagonistic point of view.
Is one
Yeah.
of them called Doofer?
Yes.
Yeah, one of them's called Doofer, which is, I imagine, like, how would you get that nickname? I imagine you're Doofy.
Later on, you find it's hinted that his real name's Robert.
Yeah, Robert. Oh, this guy, I was watching this yesterday, and this guy, no, we don't have the audio on, but this guy's voice is the most like, well, hi there, guys. I like money. Do you know that I like money? Yes. Hey, guys, here's my son. I produced him with money. Now,
I rubbed some money together and it just popped out.
I gave my wife some money and then he popped out.
His wife's a vending machine.
So that guy laughing just there profusely, and a few of the other people are from the movie Animal House, which is the ultimate college frat boy kind of party movie in all of cinema. So without
There he
Animal
is.
Yeah.
The guy from before.
Yeah. So without Animal House, this movie might not exist. So thanks, the 1980s. John Belushi was in Animal House. I mean, he wasn't in this. He was dead by this point. But they could have got his corpse for a cameo. I don't know.
Would have been expensive, of course.
Would have been smelly.
Yeah. Why don't you just get
Dan
a
Aykroyd
different
wouldn't be happy.
corpse and go, this is John Belushi's corpse. Who's going to know?
Jim Belushi.
According to Jim, this is not John's corpse.
I just imagine Jim Belushi standing there, like in one of those promo photos for called Jim, and he's like dad jeans up to his waist with like his rolled up tartan shirt, just his arms crossed, being like, "That's not his body," and then just like slaps Andy on the head. He's like, "Get out of here!"
Did you know that there's a biopic on John Belushi's life?
Oh yes, and it's one of the worst movies ever made, isn't it?
Yep.
I need to watch it. But at the moment, we're watching Sorority Boys. Now, Sorority Boys. How do you think the title got to be? Like, who do you think... Like, how do you think they came up with the title name? They couldn't get dog catchers. Don't know why. Maybe the dog catchers union were like, this movie's inappropriate.
No, I think they just kind of went, Dog Catchers is a really weak title and you have to see the movie to get the title. And we can't bank on people seeing the movie.
He just shot open this trunk with a gun.
Where did he get the gun?
It's America.
Oh yeah, of course, he had one in his
And he's
back
also
pocket.
like 40 years old, so he
Yes.
could just get it anywhere. So...
Yeah, I think maybe they didn't want to call it Dog Catcher because it's a running joke in the movie. Not too many things are named after their running jokes, are they?
No. Well...
The running joke of this...
American Pie.
Well, one of the major...
American Pie.
But American Pie is also a phrase.
Yeah, I know, but...
And a song.
Yeah, but
That goes
it's just
for
a
20
flickering
years.
moment in the film American Pie.
It's not
where he
a
has sex
flickering
during...
moment.
It's not like... it's not like... That's not even a recurring gag in American Pie, the singular movie I'm talking about, like the first one. It's just one scene where he has sex with a pie. That's it. We don't see, like, him giving foreplay to the pie later. No, we don't see him roll over in bed and be like, here, honey, and, like, gives the pie a, like, pat on the face.
Well, to fuck over my argument, I guess in this case, it's also sort of the case because the whole big running gag of this movie is the fact that they're obviously guys
What?
dressed as women
I'm surprised.
and doing fake high voices.
So, Grace, you're a woman, arguably. Which...
Not arguably.
Which
I am
one do you think you look like the most out of the
I
three?
don't think I look like any of them.
Yeah, but if you have to choose.
Well, I'm not blonde.
Oh. Yeah, it doesn't matter about hair color necessarily. Like, which one do you relate to?
Which of these masculine characters do you relate to, Ryan asks.
No, which of these masculine, feminine characters? Remember, sexism ended because of this, so masculinity and femininity ended as well.
It
We're all just one now.
okay. It might be the brunette one.
What, like the main one?
The main one, yes.
I relate to the brunette one too.
Excellent.
Because if I was
The
a
one we're
man...
looking at right now?
No, that's clearly blonde. This is Michael Rosenbaum. Let's all remember that this one, the one with the fat ass, is Michael Rosenbaum.
Okay.
So the one that you relate
Since you haven't seen the movie in ages, there's a whole plot about how fat his ass is.
Of course.
Because he's a woman, right? And he's not really a woman, he's a man. And they're just like, you got a fat ass. And he's like,
So
no.
does he have a fat ass as a man?
No, as a man, because men are different. No one
They
cares
just
about a
have
guy's
massive asses.
yeah. Well, men's asses in comparison to women's don't matter if they're bigger. It's like women's, like, ideally, according to the patriarchy, either they have to be like big bouncy booties or just like tight apples. There's no in between buts.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm fair. And enough. So Bartek,
Yeah.
when you watched this movie for the first time,
Yesterday.
what was your expectations of where it would go? What was your feeling, and how did you feel afterwards seeing the movie?
Well, I don't know if this is necessarily what you told me or if it's what I recall, but when you described this movie to me a very long time ago, you said that it was about three guys who dress up as women to get into a fraternity to try to get with women or something. That I don't think you told me that specifically.
No, I said like they dress up as women to get back into their fraternity.
Okay, yeah. So I misremembered what you said, so I assumed it would be something more akin to this really great movie called Screwballs, wherein it's about five teenage guys played by adults, but teenage guys trying to be the first person to take the virginity of this girl named Purity Bush, which is very much a live action cartoon, very funny movie, which I am lucky enough to have on DVD when I bought it for $2.
So, what was your... So, you had expectations of Screwballs. When it wasn't Screwballs,
No.
like when the opening credits said Sorority Boys...
No, stop
not
putting words...
Screwballs.
Stop putting words in my mouth! I'm sorry for making my phone go red, but stop it. I'm saying that was my... like, the movie that I could compare it to.
Fair enough.
So I thought, oh, maybe it's gonna, be one of these really big comedy things, not too heavy on the plot. But I was wrong. It was a very deep story, and like you said, it killed sexism.
It killed sexism. I mean...
Killed it dead.
And then, is this the greatest movie ever made?
Oh yeah, of course.
No, that's better like Beckham.
No, they're all great movies, but could this be better? Because Bend It Like Beckham gave a push towards ending sexism, but this was like a big bloody knife in the heart of sexism and was yanked out of that heart, and sexism just bled out
Well, let me.
We
like
did
a
just-
period.
We did just talk over a very strong moral lesson where they all just got dog caught, they got dog catchered at the karaoke party.
Or cock.
And they were like, oh, when they were like, dog catcher, like, oh, I love this is great. And then it happened to them like, oh no, this is shit, we're in a net now.
I wrote in my notes, irony?
There is a lot of getting comeuppance in this
question
movie like
mark.
that.
Their comeuppance have been gotten, as
Many
most people say.
times. There are a lot of callbacks.
Okay. In this movie, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I thought, it's either Michael Rosenbaum's character would be the one...
His character's name's Adam, by the way.
Madam, I'm Adam.
The woman one is Adina.
Adina. I thought his name was Dean, hence his name was Adina, but I kind of got used to him just being Adina. But what I was saying was, I thought Michael Rosenbaum's character was going to be like the brains of the operation, but Doof is the brains of the operation.
Sort of.
Doof is like, I've got a plan, and then they're in dresses. Like, I
There
wanted
was
them
no-
to have that sequence in which, like,
There's
okay,
no montage.
there was no... Oh, there will be montages, don't
Yes,
get me wrong. It's
montage,
no better like
montage.
Beckham. That broke montages.
Was it 11 montages in Better Like Beckham?
22 or something.
I thought it was around 18, 16. I don't know.
But either way, I thought Michael Rosenbaum was going to be the brains, but Doof is the brains. The guy whose literal
Called
name is
Doofer.
Doofer. And he says to them, I've got a plan. And then they're just in dresses. Like, I thought it was going to be like this. Okay, this is the difference between a paid professional and me. If it was me, I would have come up with, ideally, again, I'm not a paid professional, I would have come up with like a witty, funny scene in which he's pitching to them the idea, hey, how about we dress up as girls for who knows how long and try and get back in. I thought that would be a really good scene, but they're just like, nah, fuck it. We need more scenes with hairy women.
I think you're saying that Doof is the brains of the operation. I think he's falling to that by default because he's the one that's actually coming up with an idea.
Yeah, but no. He comes up with all the plans in the movie.
Yeah, so the other two, they're just not getting ideas.
She is in, she is the no-hoper in pretty much every, teen raunchy comedy from the
but
2000s.
You know how she sounds in this, right?
Yes, how she always sounds.
Hey guys, super duper.
Like, she's the same character.
And then this is
Saved.
Patty. She's a giant.
She's the first person in the movie to get dog catched.
She was the dog catch, yeah.
What's
Also,
no? Yeah.
when the love interest called them, like, plus size,
I actually wrote the social justice warrior characters in this movie are a lot harsher than the actual misogynists in this movie.
Yeah, but funny
Because
that...
there's a scene later, sorry Bartek, there's a scene later where he attends women's studies and the teacher just goes, "Excuse me, are you in the right class?" And he's like, "Yes, I'm doing women's studies." And she goes, "Really? This is women's studies?" And I'm like, okay then, I guess men can't join in women's studies. Fine, whatever. Sexism.
So I was just going to say, because I mentioned
It's hard to be a man.
I mentioned earlier that, one of the big jokes of this movie is that they're obviously men dressed as women and they're doing, just fake high falsetto voices.
Oh my god.
But,
my name is
but like,
Sabrina.
that plus size thing, which, I mean, women can be plus size too, but like, it's kind of like one of these... What?
Thank you, Bartek. I'm glad. I have
Hey,
permission.
the patriarchy is dead, so anyone can be plus size now.
Excellent.
Go on.
I
You were
was
saying?
saying that to preface the next point, that, like, typically men are bigger than women. So that was, like, the only...
Especially in the butt department. We just talked
Yeah.
about this earlier.
Yeah, and the crotch. And that's, like, the only line sort of, like, trying to masculinize these characters. Otherwise, they're just, oh, yeah, you're women.
So,
Why are they wearing women's underwear? They don't have to wear
Well-
women's underwear.
now, in their defense, they wear bras, obviously. But why they wear women's underwear is actually a fair...
Women's.
Women's underwear. Why? Because they wear dresses all the time. Most of them. And if you saw Michael Rosenbaum, Lex Luthor, before, he still sits like a guy with his legs spread.
I did
So
see
if
that.
you're going to wear
That is
underwear underneath it and you're aware that that's going to be a possibility, you wear women's underwear. Like, I'm not going to... Look, it's hard not to reference the film White Chicks as much as I like to. This film does something that White Chicks did not. In White Chicks, they didn't wear women's underwear for a good portion of it, and there's a scene in which somebody sees up their skirt and sees their dick, and they're like, "Oh my god, see, this movie doesn't have that. This movie just has a blind woman entering a shower with a man that she thinks is a woman, and he casually puts suds on his imaginary breasts and then bathes with her and gets an erection."
Of course.
Take that, Wayans brothers.
Oh, boobs. Now, I don't think they're her breasts because they don't show her face and the boobs. I think it's like a body double.
Oh, great.
There's the best
What's
part.
he bringing sausages into the shower for?
Oh, and that's not how erections work, okay, Grace? If you just drop something on someone's erection, the dick's gonna, like, smack down. Like, it'll be hurting a lot, but it's not gonna just, like, catch it.
You got a weird dick, Ryan.
Oh, you just have an erect dick right now, but you have an erect dick and you just, like, throw a face, like, not like just, from, like, thing, she dropped that from really high up. The weight and the momentum hitting your hard, erect dick, and they can be sensitive, especially if they're hit, will just make the dick still bounce. It's not going to just catch it. You're the one with a weird dick.
Maybe I am just strong Polish man.
Grace, you might know something about dicks. Am I right on this issue?
Yeah, you're a dick. Oh, my phone's going red.
How dare you? Well,
I was calling Ryan a dick.
I don't have...
I thought you called Grace a dick.
No, I was calling Ryan a dick.
Oh, I thought you called me a dick as well.
No!
Okay, Grace, to clarify things, you are a dick. Let's
How
move
dare
on.
you? No, you're the original dick
How
here.
dare you, dick?
I did
I
sexism.
agree that if you drop something on a dick, it would give way. I do agree with that.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I guess it takes...
That's all I'm asking.
It's not us.
I guess...
Bartek counteracts me in these podcasts where I just say something like, the sky is blue, and he will just be like, well, that's fucking ludicrous. It's clearly teal. And I'm like, oh, get out.
Ryan, look outside. It's clearly white right now.
I hate you.
There's plenty of
Oh,
clouds.
he just told him to suck his dick.
Nice.
See, he knew we were talking about dicks.
He knew.
Oh, Okay, so this movie is beyond the normal conventions, right? I thought there was going to be a lot more of these kind of small little kind of scenes where he like goes from woman to man, like somebody's going to catch him between, but none of that happens. It's only that one time. Oh, here she is. I wish we knew her name. I think her name's Professor Cunt. Because she really is. Like, look at this. He's just like, in all fairness.
That is the fullest lecture hall I've ever seen.
Well, yeah, femalehood in crisis. Like, she's such a bitch.
That's what the unit's called.
Yeah, but no, the way she's saying it, she's like, ugh. And then she's like, have a seat. And she's just so disgusted. And then throughout the lesson, she'll say something about men and then, like, direct it at him. Like, this is your fault. Like, individually you. Also, she uses the phrase histonomics. Like, the economics of history is called histonomics. Is that a real word?
Is she wrong?
Is it a real word? I don't do histonomics.
Hey, look, Spencer has a cameo.
Oh my god. He has a cameo in his own movie.
What was the other character called? It was
Big Johnson.
Big Johnson.
Look, he just crushed him with his Big Johnson. And there's a recurring joke. Throughout the whole movie, anytime he gets hit, Spencer, he goes, my collarbone.
Really?
I just noticed, because at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, he gets thrown off a boat, and the last thing you hear is, my collarbone. I didn't realize that that's like a mini recurring joke for him. Like, I guess that's something he says a lot. Like, he's just like, I guess he has a previous collarbone injury. I guess this movie's trying to tell us to read deeper into the characters, to look beneath the surface of even Spencer, who might be crippled because he has a serious collarbone injury. I mean, it goes into theory that a lot of villains are crippled physically as well as mentally. I guess that's what the film's trying to tell us.
Ryan, call me crazy, but
You're crazy.
Thank you.
Call the police. Help.
Are you trying to say that this movie is multi-layered?
This movie is not only multi-layered, but if I had to guess how many layers there were, I would say 9.
I would say 1.
Like the
million?
levels of hell. 9.
I would say 2, but it's actually really only 1 layer sort of folded over.
So it's bi-layered?
It's well, I mean, there is a character in this movie that's bisexual, so and they're like,
are they explicitly called bisexual?
no, of course
Okay.
not. The main female character falls in love with his female persona, and then she's like, well, that makes sense, I'm gay. And then at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, she finds out he's a man, and then because of plot contrivances, I mean, because of great writing, she gets with him in the end, because I guess she's no longer gay.
She just loves being lied to.
And she loves manipulation. So I guess because she got with women and has gone with men, I guess you have to draw the conclusion that she's probably bi. Probably. I mean, I don't know if she's pan. I don't know where she lays in the spectrum, but I have to guess because this movie's only got 9 layers.
So, do you
Why
want?
do people think she's deaf?
No. It's because she's got an annoying voice, and if she talked in sign language, they wouldn't have to hear it.
Oh, okay.
God.
Oh, can you just please throw that drain hair away? It's bothering me so much. I know it's meant to, but it's working, and I hate that I'm giving this movie something.
I do like how this character here is like trying to not make a big deal out of it when it touches her.
What I
It's like, no, keep to the script.
Now, you were going to say something, Bartek, but
Yes.
just if I can just butt in for a second.
Oh, yeah, I've only been trying to say for 20 minutes. Go ahead.
Fuck off. Like, I just think that Doofer is one of those magical imbecile characters because he's kind of like, is it Neil from The Inbetweeners?
I
Where
haven't seen it.
they're so dumb that they're pure on a level. Like, they're so dumb that they're innocent. Because Doofer, we never saw him be a real sexist, misogynist asshole before. We just saw him be like, oh, come on, guys. Leave her alone.
Yeah, well,
And then he's the one out of the 3 of them that actually gets to know the individual women that are part of the sorority. Like, we all should aspire to be Doofer.
Yeah, well, later on, he even has that speech during their pity party thing.
Yeah.
Where he talks about how all the stuff he's done in his life was to make friends. Like he didn't want to crush cans of beer on his forehead all his life, and CAT scans are really expensive and stuff like that.
And the migraines. Oh, but now, Bartek, let's hear what did you want to say?
Well, basically, I just wanted to talk about why this movie is, in the public eye, biased seen towards not being that good.
Yeah.
This movie is one of the movies that we have done on this show that is on Roger Ebert's worst movies ever list.
Why?
I knew he was on to something.
What? Yes.
You mean that he was a senile old fuck? I mean, look, I'm not saying that we should appreciate death of certain people, but if you don't like Sorority Boys...
Well, to be fair, Roger
I am
Ebert...
looking at you and I am so appalled.
Come closer and tell me that.
Roger Ebert, in his later years of life, he would
Set
What's
fiery
a
poops.
bad like he would judge, like what's a bad word for judge? He would label
Condemn.
condemn. He would condemn movies of being horrible while having a permanent smile on his face.
Yeah, I bet he didn't even like Big Fat Liar or something. What an asshole.
And you know what? He was very popular in the whole movie industry, so he's got to have some credibility.
Why are you so attached to Roger Ebert, Grace? Like, why do you love him so much? Because you're disgusted with my condemnation of a condemner.
Well, just on the whole, usually when he positively reviews something, I'm like, I
Yeah,
agree with
well,
you,
if
Roger
Hitler
Ebert.
positively reviewed Poland, we would have been like, oh, well, yeah, sure.
Look,
but
Ryan,
he didn't.
Ryan, look.
It means fuck Roger Ebert.
Also, there's a shocking amount of Powerpuff Girls
Well,
imagery in
this is early 2000s, so Powerpuff Girls were the shit. Do you see
Alright.
Tsar there, or Tazar?
Tazar? What?
Tsar.
What is that?
It's a band.
Oh, okay.
It was like a bunch of moody-looking wankers. They probably liked Roger Ebert.
Oh, boy band.
So one final thing about
I think there was a woman in there, so I think you're
Oh,
right.
okay.
one final thing about Roger Ebert. He was a very
Same.
well-known reviewer, and you know what? Maybe he was going on to something. Maybe he was right. Except this isn't the first movie we've done that's on his worst movies ever list.
Whoa! What?
There's one other movie that we've done on this show that's on that worst movies list.
Please don't tell me.
It's
Please don't.
Scooby-Doo.
Did you like Scooby-Doo 2?
It wasn't on his list.
Holy shit!
So
I guess another person likes Scooby-Doo 2 as well.
We had about, 2 hours on that movie,
He had
that episode.
He had a fucking minute.
Clearly, we've already proven that movie is fantastic. Therefore, because he's got that movie on his list, he's full of shit. Therefore, it means nothing that this movie's on his list.
Yeah. I guess the real sexist is Roger Ebert.
Yeah?
I think Grace agrees with that.
No,
She's
I
like, out of
don't
all the
agree
things that
with
you've
that.
said, I agree. Roger Ebert was sexist.
Yeah, I said that.
I spit on his grave.
That movie was on his list too, and the remake.
Oh, alright. What a sexist.
Yeah, that movie actually is a feminist movie.
Unlike this movie, which is pure...
Filth, poop, pure filth.
I was gonna say feminist idealism.
Are you guys one of those vitrolic people who, badmouth movies you like?
Who?
Calling this movie filth?
I don't call it filth. I guess Grace is just a filthy person. Take a bath. Jesus.
Take a bath.
So, so this film has many emotional layers to it, and
Now we've established it's one layer folded in half.
no,
Well, Ryan said 9.
it's 9. It's 9 layers.
It's like the circles of hell. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's like 9. You could divide that 3 times. This movie has 3 acts, so divide each act into different layers.
Also, how many times is the song "Dude That Looks Like a Lady" in this film?
I think it's.
Not at all, is it?
I don't think it's in it at all.
Maybe they couldn't afford it.
Well, this movie only had like a $15 million budget.
They had to buy Powerpuff Girl merchandise.
Yeah, they had to buy.
They spent all their money on Powerpuff Girls.
Are women's lines really this long?
Yeah,
Anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, outside of sporting events.
At Rod Laver Arena,
Well,
after
that's
you get out of a concert, it's a really
Well, that's
long
not
line.
surprising. It's the same for men, but like at college, university.
they tend to be pretty full after a lecture.
Look, he's having more showers with her. Like, he does this repeatedly throughout the movie. And there's even a scene later where she's like, "Stop poking me in the butt." And then you see he has both his hands on her shoulders. And it's like, oh.
He's using his knee.
Huh?
Oh, his dick.
His dick.
I thought it was his knee.
Yeah. Oh, also, you know how in other movies there's a setup and a payoff? A setup and a payoff. Like, for instance, they set up this whole, you've got a fat ass, you're fat, and this same guy, and then they pay it off at the end by him, like, pelting a rock through the back of their car, and they just crash and die, presumably.
Well, no, one of them's injured. You see that in the next scene.
Oh, that's who that guy was. Because during the movie, I was watching it, and I just saw a guy, like, a full body brace. I'm like, who's that? Like, I don't remember him at all. And then it's like, you just blew my mind. I'm glad Bartek paid attention because Grace hasn't watched it, so we have to educate her through it. And evidently, I didn't care enough. Because I would have known that. But I guess I paid too much attention to the fact that he looks like a real wanker in the scene. I wrote that down in my notes. I'm like, is he being more wankery than usual?
His shirt has like a 70s pointed collar.
That's the only shirt he wears as a guy. Like, that's the shirt.
Our main character's fashions are very diverse.
Diverse, yeah. Like mine. I'm a diverse, fashionable guy.
Yeah, actually, that's accurate.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Why do you say, like, oh yeah, actually, like, everything I've said is accurate. I'm an accurate guy. I shoot from the hip like a porcupine.
Porcupines shoot from the hip. What do porcupines shoot?
Their needles.
You mean their quills?
Yeah.
I don't know. Was there a porcupine in Sonic?
Yeah, see? He gets it. Fucking Roger Ebert.
Bet he didn't like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
I liked how she caught him in his trap by mentioning breasts. Like, when you mention breasts out loud, a woman to a man, they automatically reveal their real intentions. Try it on us.
So, mention breasts.
Yeah, you just say breasts.
Breasts.
But,
I'm not embezzling anything, alright?
oh my god. Oh my god. Now say it to me.
Breasts.
This is the best movie ever made.
Ryan! You really do think that? Aww.
Deep down, could this be the best one yet? I think so. Because it's got the French in it. It's got giants. It's got boobs, football, rape. I mean, everything's in it. Everything's in it.
Check out those pits.
Now, Bartek, you're a hairy guy.
Yeah!
Do you ever get annoyed by how hairy you are? Because as a guy, I'm not really hairy. Like, I only shave my face like once every 2 months, 3 maybe.
Mm.
But you're incredibly hairy. Does it get bothersome?
Well, the thing with me shaving my face is that I'm very negligent about it. I just let it grow just because shaving's a pain for me because my beard is thick. The only thing that I would say is that sometimes when the moustache hairs get like below the upper lip level, then I like trim them with scissors. That gets a bit annoying.
So there you go. We got a little insight on Bartek's shaving routine.
Tune in next week and we'll talk about ass hairs.
Tune in last episode. I think we talked about ass hairs too.
Well, we talked about my ass. So
Find out.
It's a popular joke.
Grace,
Yes.
is it bothersome as a woman to have to shave, or you just don't because you don't care enough? Because I know that's a way of doing it too.
Well, no one, as you said, no one has to shave. Like, it's annoying as hell. If you do choose to do it. Because depending on how quickly your hair grows, like you got to do it. Like, if not every day, like every second day, and that's just.
And then you're just going through razors.
Yeah,
and they're expensive.
Yeah, they're
I imagine
expensive.
girls' ones are more expensive because that's just
Because
that's
thick,
what
yeah.
because that's what happened after sexism died.
Yeah, exactly. After it died. It's annoying because if you don't do it properly, as we saw earlier in the film, it's
You get
very
ingrown
accurate.
hairs.
You get little white, not white, little red spots on their legs, and like they don't sting, but they like hurt a bit. Like the very first time I waxed my legs, which I think I was in like year 8 or 9. Once I'd done it, because I did it myself because I'm a fucking idiot. I did it and it was pretty good. I'm like, oh, well done me, 5 stars. And then like 15 minutes later, my legs were bright red, and they were like still red spots, and they stung. And my mum came into my room and she's like, what happened? Like, is it poison ivy? I'm like, no, I tried waxing. It's like,
And then she was like, you idiot.
No, she
Here's a razor. It's a lot easier.
She was just kind of like, well, don't do it again, maybe. I'm like, yeah, fair enough.
Did you ever do it again?
I haven't waxed like myself again, but I have gone to go get waxed.
So you're like, I'll get it professionally done.
Yes.
Does it bother you that that's an industry where
No,
you could
no.
go down the road and just get legs waxed, but it's more difficult to just do it yourself?
It doesn't really bother me that it's an industry. It bothers me that
You just lack that skill?
Well,
Bothers me.
yeah, and also like it's hard to do it on yourself. Like at least I find it difficult. And like I only tried it once.
Once.
Yeah.
3 times. A lady.
Well done, 5 stars.
So in this scene just here, Doofer once again brought in a tool for the next plan.
Okay, I got confused. What's this scene?
That's the scene establishing that if he doesn't do what he's doing right now, he might not get to the position where he'll get an amazing job and will be stuck tucking in old men's hemorrhoids.
You tuck them in?
Apparently.
Aren't they really painful to touch?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess he's so large, you could just tuck them in. Just tuck. Hey boy, chuck my hemorrhoids in.
Ryan, we should bring, for our next episode, whatever it may be, bring in a really old guest.
Okay, I'll bring your mum in. Yeah?
Ryan, why would you...
Because then she could speak Polish fluently throughout the episode, and I'll be like, I understand her, Bartek. I thought I didn't know Polish, but I understand when your mum speaks it. I guess you just are really shit at Polish. Who knew? Like, I guess, wouldn't that be... If we ever have a final episode of this show, it should just be, like, revealed that I speak Polish throughout the whole entire
And you're just
time.
fucking with me.
Yeah. And I just speak Polish throughout the whole episode just to show you up.
What a great reveal.
No, it'd even be better because, like, that's the in front of the scene, but really behind the scenes, I trained myself for, like, months and months to learn Polish just to spite Bartek.
is a
For
montage
when he was
for
like, the sky is actually white outside, I'll be like, fuck him, I'm gonna train. I'm preparing for war. Yeah.
And I help you, but I forget once you show your results.
So, Michael Rosenbaum's probably the best well-known star in this picture.
Mm-hmm.
He played Lex Luthor, that's what he's best well-known for, and he also did the voice of the Flash in the animated series. There's a great episode where the Flash and Lex Luthor swap bodies, and Lex Luthor's just like, I can finally know who the Flash is, and he just walks into a mirror, unmasks the Flash, and he's just like, I don't know who this is. Who is this? And that's the end. But my favorite thing ever is the fact that he is Lex Luthor playing the Flash, being played by Lex Luthor. It's just like all the layers. I mean, not to talk shit about Batman vs Superman, but Michael Rosenbaum does a better Lex Luthor in this movie than Jesse Eisenberg does actually playing Lex Luthor. That's my general thought process about that
We
movie.
just had to stop poking my butt line.
Oh, and then now we have this scene in which they've roofied each other. It's really funny.
To jump back on Screwballs, this scene is very much live action cartoony. This shot particularly.
Yeah, I don't understand because there's no other moments like this in this movie where people are invincible and cartoon logic
Yeah, and it does, like, he got thrown out one window and then just, like,
returns
Came
through
through
another
another.
one like he's a boomerang, like a human. Wouldn't that be a great nickname? Jimmy the Boomerang.
Jimmy the
Because he always comes back. And it's funny because he comes on his back.
And it's also funny because he's not Australian.
Yeah. And he speaks with this like Jersey accent that he has. And it's like, look who it is. It's Jimmy the Boomerang. He's like, yo! Yo!
Hey, Boomerang, you douchebag!
And then he like gets a flick knife out and he goes, I'll cut you up. And then like throws his knife and it comes around like a boomerang and cuts him in the hand. And he's like, grabs your hand. He grabs your hand, cuts your hand open and goes, we're blood brothers.
Why is his fighting tactics so weird?
Which
Because he's Jimmy the Boomerang.
Which was the hurricane that hit Jersey? Was it Sandy or Katrina?
Katrina, I think?
Katrina. He could have an attack named after Katrina.
No, that's his brother. Hurricane Katrina. And his name's Kerry. He's like, oh look, it's my brother Kerry. Or as we like to call him, Hurricane Katrina. And he just like, every time he enters a room, he just spins in. Like that's why he's called Hurricane Katrina. He's like, oh, watch out, it's Hurricane Katrina. It's like spins in. You know, he's Jimmy the Boomerang's brother. I mean, he's a bit special. He had to repeat the second grade 4 times, but he's cool.
Hey, look, they're getting high.
Oh yeah. There comes a point where just drugs enter the movie and they just don't stop for like a solid 15 minutes.
Did they make a bong out of the bathtub?
I don't.
There are a few bongs in this movie.
There's lots of bongs in this movie. The giant breaks like one of them. Oh,
Yeah.
look at those nails.
Oh, good God.
Look, I'm a man and I've never had the painted nails, but I'm 100% sure I would do a better job.
Well, Ryan, you have a girlfriend. Ask her if you can do it.
No, I don't want to touch her feet. Jesus.
What is wrong with...
No, joke. There was a girl in my high school who had a serious fear of feet.
fear?
A phobia of feet.
Oh my God. Would she scream?
Yes.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, it was. Because here's the part of the story I was going to tell you.
Everyone has feet.
No. She was afraid of feet. And then one day I walked up to her and said, are you afraid of your own feet? And then she's just like, I wasn't. Oh. And then and then I asked her like later, I'm like, so is it weird putting on socks and shoes? And she's like, it is now. And she actually told me it takes her like 15 minutes.
Because of what you said?
Because I'm like,
Oh my
I
God,
question.
you ruined her life.
It's not my fault. She's a fucking idiot if she's like can't overcome that fear. Like, what happened to her? Did she have a foot incident when she was a kid? Like, it's like, oh, could you imagine? It's like a black and white movie, 10 minutes long, silent, and it's called The Foot. And it's like a little girl in a beret running down the street. Her balloon blows in the wind, and a giant foot pops her balloon, and she's like, no! And like
She
tears
must
rolling
hate
down her.
those Monty Python cartoons.
Oh my
where, like,
God,
the
yeah.
foot scratches stuff.
But here's the best part. She's now engaged to a guy.
Bigfoot.
No, to a guy from our school, and he used to like rub his feet, like his bare feet, on her, and she would like scream and cry and everything. So she's going to marry a monster. Her own monster. Isn't that great? Not as great as this scene that alludes to rape.
Well,
That actually happens, and we're supposed to think of it for comedic value.
well, we don't know that happened yet because they're both passed out.
No.
But later on, we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scene that's like that's the pinnacle scene that like, oh, it's alluded, like he's unconscious, blacks out, wakes up later. It's like, ooh.
But it's guy on guy, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, because male rape isn't a big deal. So this is the emotional scene in which we find out that this chick feels like she's a lesbian.
Or has been turned.
Yeah, she's been turned by the Steve Tyler looking guy. Does she not look like Steve Tyler?
I can't think of what Steve Tyler
Yeah,
looks
from
like.
Aerosmith.
Well, that doesn't help. Like, Bandana Man? No,
Big
that's Axl
lips,
Rose.
long hair, father of Liv Tyler.
Oh, yes. A
Yeah.
little bit, yeah. It's the hair.
It's the cheekbones, the hair, and the eyebrows.
It's Walk This Way, Steven Tyler.
Well, that's the only Steven Tyler I know. he's looked the exact same forever on, with bandanas on his bandanas and scarves on his microphone and shit. That's Steve Tyler I know. He's my dad. He could be your dad. He's everyone's
He
dad.
absolutely could not be my dad.
You don't know that. Steve
I
Tyler's
do
been
know
around.
that.
You
Does
don't
Steve
know.
Tyler sell computers?
Yeah.
Oh, he could be my dad. Shit.
Unless Steve Tyler lives in New Zealand and washes windows, then...
No,
then
but
maybe-
he could have been in New Zealand on a tour.
While selling computers.
No, you know Steven Tyler has
1995.
kids all around the world, right? Like he's
Well, if he's everyone's
impregnated
dad.
so many groupies
Well, he
that there's
says
a
he
percent.
has.
Huh?
He says he has.
No, lots of women with their
Oh.
children, and like Liv Tyler, the actress from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
He's her dad.
Yes, this I know.
But there's so many others, like the chick from The Craft. You seen The
Which-
Craft?
Yes, I have seen the cover.
The insane one with the big Steve Tyler lips.
Oh.
She's an illegitimate child of Steve Tyler.
What? I have no idea whether you're joking or not.
No, I'm not joking. Like, Steve Tyler has so many illegitimate children that it's actually hard to know in certain areas.
Here's the bong.
Oh, here it is. Oh, and there it goes.
That was the
There was
scene.
also another musician, the guy who sang I Put a Spell on You, the original one.
Oh, Screaming Jay Organs?
Yeah, I think it's him. Where he also has the exact same incident where he's had so many women impregnated when he's been on tour.
Yeah. I've heard
And there was that story where there was like this reporter talking about that, and he goes, "Hell, you could even be my dad." And he goes, "Yeah, I could be. Let's do a test." And then found out he was his dad. So believe me when I say you could be Steven Tyler's daughter.
I refuse to believe you.
Why? He's awesome. He's saying,
not my
"Dude
dad."
looks like a lady," which was in so many great films. Like, not like this one.
And also The Simpsons.
I like how Bartek accepted the fact that it could be his dad. I'm like, does he sell computers? Maybe. And it's like, holy shit, he's my dad. Be like Bartek on this specific incident and just agree with me that he could be your dad.
Oh, callback.
Irony. Oh, sorry. I wrote in my notes again. Irony? Because he has a really relaxed attitude about it. He's just like, yeah, take that. Lex Luthor punching someone, I find that a bit awkward.
I find.
What was that?
I was about to say something very weird.
Erotic?
Actually.
You're gonna
I
say
was about
erotic,
to
right?
say I find it very exciting, but I don't know. There goes the Mormon.
Your favorite character is the Mormon.
No, he's a little scumbag.
His face right there was pretty funny.
Do you
though.
not like Mormons?
No, I don't
Do you have a problem with religions? Because I now live with someone who's very
Joseph Smith is listening.
Oh no, not Joseph Smith. Oh, there it is. He came on the back of his dress.
Oh, great.
And it's like, what flavor was it? Big juicy cock?
Oh, doofer.
Classic doofer. I mean, we all have a friend called Doofer, don't we? I say it's Grace. Out of the three of us, you're Doofer.
How am I? Well, I am the most compassionate, I feel.
And you crush beer cans on your head all the
Oh,
time.
frequently.
Just can't stop. Can't
know.
stop.
I've done it at least 11 times. As
Also, I
before.
don't know who Doofer's dad is. Could be Steve Tyler.
Well, with that hair, it might be.
Might be. That's not even his real hair.
So there's Doofer, Adam, and Robert. Is that correct?
No.
No, Doofer's real
Robert.
name. Robert.
Doofer is
Doofer,
Robert?
Adam, and I
It's-
think Dave.
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 And they're
Dave.
Adina, Daisy, and Roberta.
And the actual actress of Dave is called Barry. Barry
Barry.
Watson
Bazza!
from Barry Watson was in the television show Seventh Heaven,
Good on
who
him.
starred alongside the bully from I'll Be Home for Christmas, Eddie.
the Ed Man.
Edster, the Eddie. So now Bartek.
That's my name.
Yeah, I know it's your name. Was there a favorite scene in this movie for you? And would you say you have a favorite character?
Well, I mentioned earlier the shot where Jimmy's thrown out the window, then immediately is launched back in. That was something that I really liked. But this scene right here is also pretty good. Favorite character, though.
Yeah, I know it's hard not to say Big Johnson, but go on.
That is actually very true because Big Johnson is very much... He's very much on the side of the people who are, being bad, the bad people, you know, the misogynists, the people who mistreat the women. But also, nothing bad ever happens to Big Johnson.
Big Johnson just gets a happy
ending. And he's always very, you know, smiling. Even later on, like, I think his last scene, he's like, you know, doing this serious initiation scene. And then when he's opposed, he's like, yeah, fair enough, man, go ahead.
This guy would be dead.
Keep the bucket of dildos.
Because there has to be this scene.
They can't be a red herring.
Yeah, this has to be connected in this new scene where he's gonna hit him with the dildos. Oh, are they really that hard where they can just break marble?
No.
Some are bendy.
No,
No, they couldn't break marble. Good, dear God, no.
Because that was a marble.
That was not marble. It was ceramic at best.
Well,
Oh, come on, it's a sorority. There might be marble.
You're not saying the obvious thing.
What?
Dave is really strong.
Dave is strong.
Which
'cause
one is Dave?
Dave's the Steve Tyler one.
Steve Tyler.
Dave's the one who's about to eat.
Can I be honest here? I like the fact that Michael Rosenbaum, the actor, said, okay, when I'm going to do this sequence, when I'm going to fight him with a purple vibrating dildo thing, I'm going to take an actual fencing stance. Like, he had his arm behind and everything. It was like doing legit fencing.
And he's left-handed too.
Well, I guess, you know, and now he's like, oh, he's dead.
That's a good flip.
And also, the wig doesn't come off. Now, I don't wear wigs.
That's a Terminator straw right there.
Yeah, I don't wear wigs, but would it have come off?
I don't wear wigs either.
You know, that's a funny thing.
I would assume it would.
I assume it would. I just thought I'd ask you, Grace, because you're a girl, so you might have more ideas of hair extension, wigs, all that kind of.
Hair extensions would not come out. A wig probably would.
Is it just me, or whenever you see a movie or TV show with wig in it, do you often think, wouldn't it fall off after this?
Yeah.
I guess some wigs are just really good or something.
Yeah. I like the fact that when they... That's my phrase for this. I just like the fact that this movie exists. Like, someone wrote this. Like, somebody...
Oh my god, the guy on the very left, he's like got tape around his ankles. And he's like hopping.
Is he okay?
I don't know, but someone wrote that.
No, someone acted that.
Yeah, someone wrote and acted that.
Yeah, okay. So this movie got money to be made. And that's going to be a major thing in this episode because out of all the movies, I can't believe this one got funded. Like, this one was like a big studio was like...
Neither could Roger Ebert.
Someone was like,
I hate to see it.
here you go. And just like hand you money. And the director has only directed 3 things. This is the second one.
What was the first?
Some independent movie, I think.
And the third?
And the third was... I can't remember, but it was also a mediocre rated movie as well, unfortunately. But we have to check it out. Next episode with you on it, we're going to check out this director's whole catalogue.
Excellent.
All of them.
Next episode isn't episode 20, is it?
No, like literal next episode. Next time we have Grace on.
Oh, right, yeah, that's fair enough.
So now it's a football movie?
Oh, I see. The change was just
Give it some credit, it's just one scene.
Yeah, but they had a speech. No, they had the setup, the speech, and then the game.
Oh yeah, they have all the tropes.
So there's 3 scenes dedicated to the football in theory.
Also, one question I have, maybe you can answer this for me. The people they're versing right now is the house called Tri-Pie, which has all the girls that have been bitchy throughout the movie.
The hot ones, yeah.
Has it been established that they were all from the same house before this point?
Yeah. Yeah. Tri-Pie has been established.
Okay, good.
Because we had the 2 Tri-Pie girls at the start that were just like, I can't believe they think we're dumb. And then they say a bunch of dumb shit because, you know, women. Am I right? Ugh.
You're not right, no.
Are you sure? Because this movie ended sexism, so I guess I might be right.
Okay, fair enough.
Any judgment I have could be correct because this is art.
There's so many
subjective.
nipples through t-shirts right now.
What was that?
There's so many nipples through t-shirts.
Oh, there's a reason for that.
It was the style in the 2000s.
No. There's a reason for that, Grace. Isn't that right? No. You'll see. But remember, this movie has actually got multiple layers because this movie has setup and payoffs. So the setup is nipple t-shirts and the payoff...
is also nipple t-shirts.
Oh yeah, but we'll see. Okay. So the football game is really long. And by this point, I watched this yesterday, I haven't seen it in a number of years. And by this point, I was saying this to you earlier, Bartek, I was just sitting here going, It says how long is this movie? Because it felt like this movie had already been like an hour and a half long. And I'm just like, is this movie like 2 and a bit hours? Yeah.
I want my giant.
Yeah, I want my giant. But I'm like, this movie has great pacing because this movie feels longer than it does. Because sometimes, let's be honest, we see a length of a movie and can be warded off. Say a movie's only like 80 minutes long, we don't take it seriously because movies are usually an hour and a half long. And then we see movies that are 3 hours long and we're daunted by the idea of watching it, like Godfather or something. Even though it might be good, it's still like, oh, it's really long. Can I do that? I'll just watch 3 hours of TV shows instead. So this movie's like, what, 93 minutes long?
Yeah.
But the pacing makes it feel much longer. Makes it feel like it's 2.5 hours long. Because by this point, we haven't seen Spencer. We haven't seen the antagonist in what feels like clearly an hour.
Yeah, he was hit by Big Johnson and his collar.
And that's it. And that felt like an hour ago.
Also, that was meant to be like Roberta, like unconscious. He was clearly a dummy. Like,
No.
I think Spencer.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Payoff.
Oh, there we go. Sprinkler.
I think Spencer might be in the audience. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Spencer's just in there being like, oi. But he's not saying anything. So there's the payoff. Some wet breasts.
But Ryan, there's still more payoff coming.
Oh yeah, Grace, there's more. Now, Grace, you haven't said much during this because you're absorbing it again. And
Just
you're
like those
shirts. Yeah.
They don't even need to take the t-shirts off because you could so clearly see their boobs.
What, do you not like breasts?
I don't not like breasts. It's just like it's
So
a
this
bit gross.
Yeah. So this movie has a lot of the mentality of, it's worse to have tits than balls. There he is, but he doesn't say anything.
He's in the third from
Is
the
it
front.
worse to have tits than balls? Because I
I
have
don't
balls
think-
and they're pretty annoying.
No, I don't think it plays off it's worse to have tits than balls. I think it's worse to have balls than tits is what this movie is.
No, this movie's showing that being a woman's really...
we don't want to see balls.
No, like saying it's harder to be a woman than to be a man. It's harder to have tits than to have balls.
Well,
That's what that phrase indicates.
Well, the common comparison there is it.
Keep up with your Lily Allen lyrics, Jesus.
Oh.
It's hard out there for a bitch.
Oh, I see.
She says it's try growing a pair of tits instead of having balls.
Okay, because I thought you
Literally?
the whole thing was a lyric. I'm like, how well do I not know my Lily Allen?
Not well enough.
I
So
quite like her.
this
voice.
movie's
I like
just-
All Right Still.
I love Lily Allen.
You look so sheepish.
No. What happens is with my taste in music, unfortunately, let's be honest, in music, there's just in my taste, I like old school rock and roll, punk, whatever. There's just not very many great female musicians in that genre of music outside of like Blondie or Suzi Quatro, whatever.
You've just named two like excellent.
No. But what I'm saying is that in comparison to the male.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's only a few. The fact that I can only list you like 4 female musicians that I genuinely like and listen to is appalling because I like a female voice in comparison to a male voice a lot more. But there's just not in my style of music that I like as many female musicians out there. And when I say, I like Lily Allen, it's kind of weird because she's kind of modern and her stuff's a bit more pop-like for what I like. But I like the fact that she's dirty and mean. And her film clips are great. I love Lily Allen's film clips. I love the one, was it London? LDN or whatever it is. And it's just like her skipping through and everything's idealistic. And then you see what it's actually like and it's shit.
Yeah.
Like she jumps over a steaming pile of shit. But in her vision, it's like a bunch of flowers or something.
And like the boy goes up to help a grandma with her.
Yeah, and he's
shopping.
actually mugging it.
Yeah, cracks her over the head. Doesn't care if she's dead because he's got all her jewelry and
Yeah,
wallet.
but enough about Lily Allen.
No, more Lily Allen.
I guess we could take it literally. Is it more annoying to have
She
breasts
has
than
bite marks on
I
her
just
chin.
saw that. He.
Sorry.
Yeah.
because of the fight sequence? He
Yes,
got
the
bit.
bite sequence.
No, earlier the fight sequence. He got bit a lot.
Yeah, I saw that.
So continuity on point.
This
Okay.
whole time, guys, Doofa's balls still hurt.
I was saying that to my housemate Mark, who's been on the show before. I'm like, Come on, he got hit in the balls. He could have been up in like 10 minutes. I get why the other guy isn't up, because he got like hit all over. Like, he got hit in the neck, the head, the eyes, everything. Like, I understand.
Although,
him
funny
sitting
enough,
out.
in the scene where they were like listening to the speech, Dave looked less injured than due to his
Fucking
balls.
Dave. If Steve Tyler was here, he would have got straight back up. You gotta kill Steve Tyler. How would it be if we released this podcast and Steve Tyler's died? And I'm like, no! And then all of our references to Steve Tyler seem inappropriate.
I think if you say "ow," but you're the one that keeps bringing him
No,
up.
Grace talked about Steve Tyler a bit. We all love Steve.
Steve.
Oh shit, guys! Patty's angry.
What? Sorry. Dad. We all love Dad.
We all loved it.
Here you go, guys. Gentle Giant.
Gentle Giant.
Beat
So-
the shit out of several.
Because apparently her big no-no is not to call her a freak.
And she fucking nails the ref. Like, what did the ref do? Poor guy. All he did was just knock Cole on the fact that this is a touch game.
Yeah, she's
And
berserk.
disqualify the other team. I mean, poor guy didn't do anything. I mean, his wife probably came over. He's dead, clearly. And she's now...
You never see him again. Oh my god.
Yeah, and she's laying flowers on his grave, and she goes, I guess it's giant hunting season, and it becomes this fantasy movie, and there's Jeremy Renner in it, and
Why
he
is
just... Because he was in Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters, or
I
whatever it
actually
was.
saw that in this season.
Why? Is that a movie that should be on this list?
Well,
Ryan, here we go.
Oh, here it is. Payoff. Doge dead.
Well, injured.
we can only
They look
hope.
fine, actually, except for the guy who had his head leaned over. He's like, he's not fine. His tits look great, even though they're fake. They like, that angle was just like, let's give Michael Rosenbaum nice tits in this scene, guys. And they're like, okay, can do. Yo, AD, tell him to get nice tits. And he runs over, it's like, okay, let's adjust your breasts. How many scenes do you think they have to stop to adjust their breasts to make them look realistic?
Well,
I think they did it absolutely every scene.
Well, I know that in the scenes where they stuff them, they just put random stuff there. But maybe in the scenes where we don't see the stuffing, maybe they just have one of those padded bras so that they don't have to do as much readjusting. It's called efficiency, I think the word is.
It's no inflatable bras that Grace is really afraid of the existence of.
Well, Tiny Grace was terrified of them.
Tiny Grace?
Tiny Grace, Little Grace,
Little Grace?
Young Grace.
Grace Jr.?
I don't have.
You don't have a senior?
Yeah, this is from forever ago in the movie, but I did laugh at the scene where they compared Roberta to the founder of the DOG.
Oh yeah, and they just do it with just a look.
Yeah, they don't talk about it or anything.
Show, don't tell. Show, don't tell.
It
Show,
was
don't
so
tell.
subtle that we forgot to mention it.
Yep. Like the scene's subtle where he's looking for a certain size. And he's
Size
like,
8 for women.
Size 8.
When he's clearly kind of not size 8 women.
Well, what size do you think he is, Grace? If you had to look at Michael Rosenbaum there from just our visual image.
I'm terrible at this. I would say 14 or 16 in Australian sizes.
Australian sizes.
Oh, and
That's what I would say. I have
Aussie
no idea whether that's
size.
correct.
How much for his ass? Because he's big. He's got a fat ass. Does that change it?
18, maybe.
Holy shit, 22.
No, not 22.
27.
29.
Look at this injustice.
Cox rule.
They won the right to get on that ship and they left without them.
Look at her fucking hair. And you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We
but
all know the
her
one I'm
hair is
talking
like
about.
that in almost every movie she's in.
Is that just her choice, like in a contract?
Yeah.
She's like, I must have hair like a porcupine because I shoot straight from the hip like one.
Is she into... She's clearly into punk.
With that, she kind of reminds me of, you know, the TV show Becker with Ted
Yes, yes.
Danson.
Why is it every time I see you reference Becker in some way?
She looks like Linda from Becca's younger. She was like, I'm
She
Linda's
does look a bit
sister.
like Linda.
How would it be if she's like, I'm Linda's sister, and she's like, I'm Linda's sister.
Like how Dave's dad hasn't even like made sure that his son's on the ship.
Yeah, his son could be dead, but okay.
He's distracted by money.
Could you? Okay, this movie, like Seinfeld, could be cured if you had a cell phone or mobile phone. This is before mobile phones were prevalent. do you ever remember that there was a time where they weren't prevalent and how inconvenient it was?
I didn't really start.
That was the guy from the car. He was in the cast.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier.
Oh, apologies.
I didn't recognize that the first time watching it yesterday. I just thought, what the fuck's that about? Like, did I miss a scene?
Sorry, I just, every now and then I accidentally watch the movie.
What are you doing the rest of the time? You're just like picking your nose going, wish Dad would call me more often. And then you just hear, "Aye!" in the distance.
Steven Tyler.
Yeah. And then Run DMC come in and they're like, yo, she's my son. And it's like, she's my son. He writes it down and that's his new song. Like Aerosmith, she's my son. Bum, bum, bum.
So we were talking about the times of yesteryear where we didn't have mobile phones and their convenience.
I actually do every now and then remember, like I get this with movies, I sit down and go, that person's dead. Or, that dog's dead. Or, hey, during this time, mobile phones and computers, social networking weren't around. It was a lot harder back then than it is now. Because sometimes you're like, say if I didn't tell you this was from the 2000s, and you didn't remember what the 2000s fashion was like, and I convinced you it came out 3 years ago, you'd be like, well, why can't they just use mobile phones to solve the situation?
But how would they solve the situation? Because they filmed it on a camera. I would be like, why is that camera so old?
Yeah. No, but, movies can get away with that. Yeah, but stuff like that. Technology really does play a part in our lives, and sometimes watching old movies, you're just like, man, I wonder what Casablanca would have been like if Facebook was around. It's like, we'll always have Paris and Snapchat. See you later.
This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I just sent you a request.
And then he doesn't accept it. And he's just like, you French bastard.
Fuck.
What the French?
Play it again, Sam. Just press the replay button.
Oh yeah, play it again, Sam. And he's like, oh, okay, I gotta wait. I don't have Spotify Premium.
Give me a second.
CBF, just play it on Spotify.
How weird would it be if they did, how they are redoing old movies like Ben-Hur? They're doing Ben-Hur again. But imagine if they updated the story.
Ben-Hur 2, Ben-Hur again.
No, Ben-Him. No. Ben-Hur like Beckham. And it's a sequel to Ben-Hur like Beckham. And Ben-Hur. It's a crossover. You know what I'm really upset about? Bartek.
You're upset about me?
You know how we come up with crossover ideas in this show where, like, wouldn't it be great if Paul Giamatti from this movie came in? Do you wish...
Hold on. Paul Giamatti from this?
No.
Oh, I see.
Like,
example.
We say, like, Paul Giamatti from Big Fat Liar should be in this as Marty Wolf again.
Yeah.
Like, crossover characters and movies. I know they're in there, but... It really upsets me that it seems like only today you can only set up universes of movies with superhero movies because they've got source material. I really wish that we could have movies like, I guess, like Star Wars is back now, but like movies where they, like these kind of movies, where they're insignificant movies, not epics, not anything grand, where they set up like a universe. Like Kevin Smith does that with his movies, like, Clerks and all that. Where he has like the Smith universe or whatever it is. We've got this universe of characters, situations, all that isn't just a big superhero one. Like I'd actually like to see Marty Wolf in another movie where he's not the main character. Or
this isn't really what you're saying, but the movie that touched sort of upon that was This Is the End, where they're like, it was the actors playing themselves, but they had like all these references to their movies, and it felt like a really unique experience having that kind of movie.
These are grown men picking up a college girl about to throw her overboard.
but the whole thing is
they're
that
rich.
They're still KOKs, even though they're grown up.
Yeah.
So this scene could have gone many ways.
Misogyny doesn't end when you age. It just gets older with time. Like time does. You get older, you die. Have you thought about the last time that you came on this episode? You've aged.
I haven't thought about specifically where I've aged, no. But
Like, since last time we've seen you and heard you on this podcast, you've aged.
Yes, I have.
And then
4 months, I think.
You could listen to this episode 4 months from now and you'd be like, I've aged again. And you look at, like, your...
I've done it again. Till I stop.
To be fair, we've aged since the beginning of this episode.
I know, like, think, you were young, exciting, and energetic at the start of this, Grace, and now
Are you
you're
saying I'm
old and
old?
boring and dying.
Why am I dying?
We're all dying. We're all dying.
I like how they had.
And then I put a cigarette in my mouth and go, it's a metaphor.
We're all dying.
Cigarette mouth, it's a metaphor. I like how he tried with her. Like, Big Johnson was like, well, this one's gotta be a man. Nope. Whoops.
I love Big Johnson.
I like Spence.
Spencer too.
Spencer. And he's got a beer can in the top pocket of his suit.
And he's got this plate ready.
Yeah, he had it ready before.
punish them to the full extent of the original charter.
My favorite thing about it too is, that's my catchphrase. My favorite thing is they play this videotape, Grace.
Yeah.
They play this videotape, and he's just like, it's a farce, it's clearly not me. And you just hear in the background, they'll pay for this. Like, it's clearly
His dialogue in that video is hilarious.
It's like it's clearly him and no one else.
It's clearly him expositioning the fact that he's guilty.
It's like, no, I like how it's the exposition, yeah. But what I love is the joke is an audio joke, and he's got this weird voice, and him standing there with this weird voice going, it's clearly not me, and then just you hear in the background, they'll pay for this, in his voice, the exact same voice. I just love it.
He's got like no authority. His voice is perfect.
I like they actually do break a convention here, where it's like, I got the tape. It's like, are you sure this is it? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, it could be not the tape. Like, it could be a different tape altogether.
Again, because Doof is really honest. He's a really genuine,
Like Big
personality.
Johnson.
Like Big Johnson. He really thought that Big Patty was a,
Oh, there's Lex Luthor getting some. Superman! How good would it be if Spence took off his shirt and he was Superman? And you were just like, you're at it again, Lex! And he just like lifts off the ground, Superman style, and like heats visions him, and he's just like, I kill in this version. Yeah, and just flies off. And he's like, is that a plane? Is that a bird? No, it's Spence. And he's just like flying there, and all you hear is, it's me, Spence.
And now
The S stands for Spence.
And now they've turned into monsters who say
look.
boola.
They're throwing him over. They're like, yeah, boo la la la, boo la la la. I'm like, collarbone. Like it's a recurring thing that he has this collarbone injury.
This is where Big Johnson's serious, but then he's happy.
So, Grace, this movie brings up a lot of issues. We've had,
It makes me so nervous when you turn to me and go, so Grace.
This movie brings up a lot
Do
of
you shave
issues.
your legs?
No, this movie brings up a lot of issues. This movie is the most I do mean this. This movie is probably the most risque, the most groundbreaking one that we've done. It has nudity, implied rape, sex. It has a lot of these adult elements, and it's dealing with a big issue, which is, of course, sexism and gender and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that it's okay for what is seemingly a two-dimensional comedy to deal with such big topics in an offhanded manner?
No.
Why?
Because, like, they're such big topics and they're taboo topics for a reason.
But I think it's okay on a level. Here's why. Comedy is supposed to deal with the darker side of humanity in a flippant, upbeat way. And certain comedians like Jimmy Carr and many others make careers...
Why is Jimmy Carr the one you went to? I would
No. Because they make careers off shock humor, pointing at the ugly side in such a flippant, two-dimensional manner. And why I pointed to Jimmy Carr was, out of stand-up comedians, he's old school stand-up where he just does one-off, like he just does one-liners. He doesn't do what is modern stand-up where you just tell stories or whatever.
Yeah.
While this movie is seemingly two-dimensional and flippant in how it is about rape, how it is about gender, how it is about sexism, misogyny, the classist undertones, because they're rich and all that, and you meet other people who are not so rich, and all that kind of stuff. that's why I think it is okay, because you have serious movies that deal with these topics. You have a plethora of them, and I think it's okay for a comedy to tackle these issues, because sometimes you need the other side of things. You need another perspective to tackle an issue, because if every movie's just Schindler's List, then where are we going to get Schindler's Fist?
It's like that image you see online where it's like, oh, there used to be a time where we listened to politicians and laughed at comedians, and then it shows a picture of John Oliver. Now we laugh at politicians and listen to comedians.
Yeah, exactly. Like, comedy is being taken more seriously. I think that's a part of... See, I'm a big fan of comedy. I think that's why we do this. We hope to entertain you with comedy and also be educational at the same time, because we get these movies, we dig deep down in movies that don't necessarily deserve to be thought about in such a manner, but people wrote this. People spent their time, energy, and life on this, and they thought about it in ways that we're thinking about it too. And that must mean that there's something there to read. And I think it's important for us as comedians to look at the lighter side of things, but also take a step back and look at it intellectually as well. Because this movie, when you look at the cover, you just think, oh, this is going to be the worst movie ever.
Correct.
No. It's
No.
the best movie ever.
Excellent.
Breasts. Best movie. This movie has a lot going for it.
It did have breasts, yeah.
Out of all the movies we've done, this one's actually made me think the most. No, because of the issues it's brought up. None of the other movies bring up these kind of big issues. The movies that we've dealt with so far brought up the similar themes and issues. I think this one's stepped out of that. This movie could have so been easily a buddy movie. Because every movie we've done, including Bend It Like Beckham, is about friendship. But this movie doesn't really focus on friendship. It focuses on the inequalities of gender and the upper class and lower class and all that. I think
Yeah,
really
it's like
interesting.
what I mentioned earlier. I walked into this movie thinking it was going to be like a, oh, dude, we're so going to get laid, yeah, dude, kind of movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that.
His
Although-
name tag says Davesy.
Yeah.
Well,
Although
Doofus one says stud.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Although I just said all that stuff, I fucking hate this scene.
Why?
I hate third-person conversations in movies where they're just like, oh, how is she? Oh, she went to Minnesota to get a act together, and they're talking about themselves, but in the third person, and that's what I hate about movies sometimes. There are those things where, on paper and thematically and metaphorically, you could argue, oh, third person in movies can be really, really great. But when you actually see it in a movie that's supposed to be in the real world, that's why I also have a problem with when they threw him out the window and he came back like a boomerang, because there's these moments where they're not real, and it's like, either be fully cartoon-like, like Screwballs,
Like Screwballs.
or be realistic and be funny, like The Hangover, say. Like, The Hangover has ludicrous moments in it, but there's no point in the first one
It's realm
where
of
you
reality,
go,
yeah.
oh, it's a cartoon. That's my problem. There's cartoony moments like third-person conversations where it's like, nobody talks like this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sitting here going, yeah, so Ryan's dad is Steve Tyler, and he feels really emotional about that. And
He's
Grace
optimistic.
is optimistic of the fact that that Ryan and her are brother and sister. technically.
Because of their dad.
Fun
Steve
fact,
Tyler.
the person who did the music supervision on this is the singer and frontsperson of the band Devo.
No, really.
And of course, that's Mark Mothersbaugh. I can't remember. He, of course, has done many film soundtracks and many television show soundtracks. So film soundtracks include... No, I can't remember film, but I remember TV. He
Yeah.
does Rugrats. He did the music to Rugrats.
I think it's pronounced Mark Mothersbaugh.
Yeah, he does lots of film soundtracks, and he does lots of iconic stuff. Of course, Rugrats being the most iconic. And he did this.
Of course he did.
I'm surprised. No, I'm genuinely surprised. But it makes sense because this end song is Girl You Want by Devo, but it's a cover version in a much more kind of loose, swinging kind of way, because this movie's very loose. I feel like it lets it all hang out. So, although the movie's now over, we get beautiful visual imagery here of rejected promo shots, I imagine.
Oh my god.
No,
Didn't
great.
wanna
Great.
waste their money.
Do you find it weird? Now, I think I find it weird. I know, you're looking at him. Stop looking at Michael Rosenbaum. I find it... No, I love this movie, Bartek.
Yeah.
But even I find it a bit hard to believe. And that's why it's unappreciated. That she
not
gets
grounded,
with
really.
him. That she gets with him. It's implied that she gets with him.
Yeah.
Would you... Okay. If I was me... and you were you, and you went to a
Done.
sorority, and I was from a fraternity of this same situation, and I dressed up as a girl, and we bathed together, and you took off your glasses, and you're blind and shit.
My vision isn't that bad.
No, but I'm
without
saying
glasses.
if,
If.
and my erection hit you, and all this kind of stuff, and you
I'm very
found out, and you
uncomfortable.
found out that and if you found out you were lesbian or had lesbian tendencies or blah blah blah, and like I made you realize that in my woman form, and then I rejected you in my woman form and tried to hit on you in my male form, and then you found out when you were getting thrown off a boat by my dad.
Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler. Sorry, our dad. That I was playing your best friend, possible lover. Would you get with me?
Oh, and by the way, I was Doofer.
And he was
Okay,
Doofer.
Good. I wouldn't get with someone who had previously rejected me, no.
Yeah. But how psychologically fucked would you be after that kind of situation?
Pretty psychologically fucked, yes.
Yeah, and she has a hate issue with men. Like, she really has bad past with men. I don't know about you, but if you had that, I don't know. If you had that, would this just make it worse?
Probably.
Would this just be like, fuck it, I'm just not going to love anyone because, like, she fell in love with a woman and it's like, no, a woman. See, I reckon I'd be psychologically fucked. Like, not me as the guy pretending to be the woman. I think I'll be fine. But if I was the girl, I think that this movie, if it was 15 minutes longer, it could have explored that. But this movie picks up important issues and just puts them back down. Like, for instance, Bartek hasn't seen the end of the credits, and neither have you.
I know what's happening, but
Yeah, he knows what happens. But at the start of these credits, the Tri-Pies on a lifeboat, and then the end of the credits that is coming up is literally a comment that we would make as a hypothetical scene that would happen. And here it is. Here it is. Bartek, this is something we would come up with. And that's why I like it. It's relatable. Because I would say, I would actually literally say, huh, they're dead. They probably eat each other. And they did.
I want to see, rather than that scene, I would prefer to see the scene where they decided which one they ate first.
Yeah, well, we can't get that or do for convincing them to wear dresses, so...
See, with me,
One or the other.
with me, I was skipping through all the images in the credits, and then I cut from the ones where they're peeing to the touchstone pictures thing. So I'm like, oh, there's nothing at the end of the credits. So that was my problem.
So, we reached the end of the film. The credits are now over. Now, we're going to hear some reviews from IMDb, of course. But first, we're going to give our little review, our little comments, our little critiques, and final thoughts, and a general rating out of whatever we feel is appropriate. Grace, I would like to hear from you first, because I've been taking up most of the show speaking, blah, blah, and we haven't heard too much from you, because you've just been flabbergasted by the brilliance of this film. Give us give the great listeners your in-depth thoughts about how great this film is.
In depth. Well, it's certainly underappreciated for a reason, is what I can say. Look, it could have done without a lot of stuff. There was at least, two scenes I liked, so that's something. You know.
Two's better than one.
Exactly.
Once, twice, three times a lady.
But that song was actually in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of songs that the dude from Devo crammed into this film about, you know, women and like, my best friend's girl. And, like, he just, like, shoved them in. It's quite impressive.
In his defense, they're all good rock songs, like rock pop songs. Rock pop. Like, not proper rock, but, like, that kind of pop is not the, you know, it's one that you can rock out
It's
to.
no Lily Allen.
It's no Lily Allen.
No, it's not Lily Allen.
She's, Kate Miller-Heidke. I like her too. So give us...
Really?
Yes.
I quite like Kate Miller-Heidke as well.
I like The Fifth Element, so I like Kate Miller-Heidke.
Fair enough.
Alright, so is that your general review? Nothing more you want to tell us?
No, that's about it.
Your rating out of what you want?
I give it 2. I I don't know what I want to rate it. I give it 2 empty Doritos bags out of 5.
Wow, that's a high rate. That's a lot of Dorito bags. Bartek, let's hear from you. I know that you got a lot to say, a lot of issues, a lot of questions, but here, let's first just hear your review and whatever.
Yeah, I've pretty much given most of my thoughts in the movie itself. It is a movie that, much like you mentioned earlier, in fact a few minutes ago, this movie didn't focus on the whole friendship thing of, hey bro, let's go in and, you know, the end goal wasn't to get laid or anything like that. Which is a lot movies do that, you know. Screwballs, as we've mentioned, which is a great
Bend it
movie.
like Beckham.
Bend it like Beckham, which, yeah, well,
They tried to get laid in that.
they get
With each other.
They get together in the end.
We're going.
The guy and the girl, and it deals with a lot the issues that we've been talking about throughout this whole
Debacle.
the whole episode. I was gonna say, and I just think it really. You were right. It really did kill sexism. I didn't really think of that until
Killed it
you
dead.
mentioned it.
Killed it dead.
Yeah, I'm struggling to even I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm trying to think of a movie that did have sexism after this, and
No.
Can't
Maybe Age of Ultron, but that's about it.
Meet Dave didn't
Fucking
have it.
Joss Whedon.
Meet Dave.
Meet Dave didn't have it. Dickie Roberts didn't have it. What other movies are there?
Surf Ninjas was before, so it might have, but like, who knows?
No, some ninjas had one woman.
Yeah, one. And that's all we need.
Yeah.
This movie had like 14.
So this movie,
And 3 of them were dudes.
Oh, were they? I didn't notice.
So what's your
my rating, I give this movie a full erection out of my pants.
Great. I'm very happy with that. Not his erection,
So am
but the
I.
A
No,
rating.
you just
Okay.
you're happy with this reaction. You can't go back on that.
Okay. That's a soundbite you can use. I'm happy with his
Right.
erection.
I just want to say,
And I like Lily Allen.
Right.
And then you just put it on like one of the gay space pages.
Gays.
Ryan, I just want to say
The
that
gays who
know,
love
I don't take that as like a gay comment. I just want to say thank you for caring.
I do care. Okay. Now, talking about caring, I care a lot about this movie. Now, of course, Bartek's new to the film, having watched it for this show, and of course, Grace only just watched it, well, let's argue, for the first proper time.
First time in ages.
First time in ages. And I grew up with this movie, so yes, of course, I have a bias to it. But here's the revelation, guys. I grew up and I didn't like this movie very much. I rolled my eyes at it. I didn't really pay heed to it. I didn't really like it. I didn't find it very funny. I found it a bit too crude, a bit too lowbrow for my own being. But doing this show has given me new perspective because movies aren't just for me. And movies aren't just for Bartek, and movies aren't just for Grace. They're for many different kinds of people. So, movies that are unappreciated, like Sorority Boys, is not necessarily aimed at what was me back then. It might be aimed towards me now. And having gone through the university experience, and having gone through being a male growing up from becoming a boy to a man, I appreciate what this movie's trying to do and what it did do. I appreciate the perspective that it takes. And yes, you could argue that it could have not dealt with certain issues such as rape, or it could have dealt with them more so. But I think comedy walks a fine line between tackling the serious issues and trying to make you laugh. And I feel this movie really does make me laugh. Although I do have problems with the movie. I think the pacing is a bit all over the place. I think certain characters just disappear and reappear. There's things that I felt like, oh, if I did it, I could have done this. But that's not my job. I'm not the filmmaker. I'm just here to shine a torch on this movie. For instance, I thought that Doofer was going to get with the giant in the end. But in fact, he got with the hairy French lady, and Big Johnson, that's his name, Big Johnson got with the giant. That made sense to the writers, didn't make sense to me. But upon thinking about it, I talked to Bartek about this before, and Bartek's like, oh, his name's Big Johnson. And I'm like, yeah, I guess they should get together. Like, thinking about it from a different perspective, thinking about it from what you may argue is a simpler perspective, or just a peculiar one. This movie, along with most of the movies we do, are peculiar, they're different, or They're very similar to the mainstream, but they take a detour in a different direction. If I had to give this a rating, there's so many things I could rate it, but I have to rate it what it honestly deserves, and that is a Purple Heart. I give this a Purple Heart because it fought the war against sexism, and it died. It died because it's unappreciated, it's forgotten, but it won in killing the enemy that is sexism, so it deserves one of the highest honors that you can give, a Purple Heart. That's my take.
Purple's one of my favorite colors.
It is, but other people had other thoughts. This hits the spot it was made for. Exactly what I was just saying. Written in 2006. This has 7 stars. Okay, this was written in 2006. This is what they have to say. Here's the thing. This is not Shakespeare. Just a little side note. He did quote Shakespeare, so technically you could argue it is. Here's the thing. This is not Shakespeare. But I doubt anyone involved with the movie was under that impression in the first place. This is a funny college romp that made me laugh on a Sunday afternoon. It brought me back to my college days of drinking and hanging out with girls, but it also has the requisite heart. Like, it's requisite.
Jesus. Same things you were just talking about.
The sorority is a group of reject girls who have all something to offer. The frat is a group of insensitive stereotypes who get their comeuppance in the end.
Oh, the frat is the insensitive stereotype, is it? Okay.
They get their comeuppance? Okay. If you want some nice familiar humor that hits all the appropriate notes in the genre, think National Lampoon or Ryan Reynolds or Stifler. This is a good bet.
Just think about Ryan Reynolds. Just do it.
Okay, I'm thinking about him.
Alright, give me a second. Mm-hmm.
Thinking about his melted face in Deadpool. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, that was the end of that one. This is Michael Rosenbaum is kind of pretty. There's no star rating on this one. This movie is probably for 12-year-old boys and people who like the actors. I like Michael Rosenbaum and Harland Williams, so I wasn't that disappointed. Of course, after seeing the trailers, I was expecting a D movie, so it was actually better than I thought it would be. There was quite a bit in the movie to offend people who like to be offended. Personally, speaking as an ugly girl who would be kicked out of frat parties, although why would any girl want to be at a frat party in the first place is beyond me. I wasn't offended because I'm too apathetic to get worked up about the messages in a badly written movie. What bothered me a lot more were the dropped plot points all throughout the film. There are far too many to mention, so I won't. It is also much easier for me to ignore the fact that the guys look like guys, and no one noticed. Suspension of disbelief in disbelief favor of going with the main plot point than it is for me to ignore the fact that they wore dresses and pumps and carried little purses to college classes, or that president of the cool fraternity was such a complete dork. Long story short, there are just so many things wrong with this movie that if you aren't the type who can shut off the critical or easily offended proportions of your brain and just enjoy Michael Rosenbaum looking pretty in a miniskirt and heels, or skinny girls in wet t-shirts for some of you, then you don't want to watch this movie. Do you agree? Grace, you have your head down, nodding. That seemed like it affected you emotionally.
You know that?
It's more that she's like, she doesn't really know what she thinks. She's like, it wasn't bad for a badly written piece of garbage.
It was great. Okay.
She was a bit off. I mean,
she was off.
Dave was the one who was pretty.
Yeah. Oh no, Michael Rosenbaum a fat ass. So if you're liking the fat asses, I guess you like that. Okay. I was pleasantly surprised. 9 stars. After reading several comments on Sorority Boys, I prepared myself for a really lame, gross-out comedy with plenty of dick and fart jokes and a wide array of breasts. Fortunately, I was very much wrong. While the movie does have a couple of moments that reminded me of There's Something About Mary, and more than a couple of boob shots, it was all done in good fun. I never once had the urge to look at my watch, and I found myself laughing out loud on more than one occasion. It was great to see how typical guys would learn a little something about how they would treat women in return. Aww. All in all, it was a good feel-good comedy, and by the end of the movie, you saw a lot of character development. Oh yeah, you saw that, didn't you, Grace? I can't say that I've made a completely unbiased evaluation of the movie, because my main motivation for seeing it was a certain sexy Lexi of television Smallville. But all in all, I found it well worth my $6 and an hour and a half. However, I don't recommend that everyone goes and sees it. There are many people who are far too critical of movies and don't believe that they can just be for fun. You know who you are. Grace, you know who you are.
I do.
But think they should have some deep philosophical meaning. If you're one of those people, don't go see this movie. For those of you who can enjoy a movie at face value, and then some in this case, go check it out. And if you're interested in seeing adorable shots of the main cast and drag, stay for the credits. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Emotional? This one's written in 2005, guys, and it's 7 stars, and its title is I Have a Fat Ass.
And it's in quotes.
And it's in quotes.
So it's from the movie.
Okay. I have a fat ass. The way he says that has to be one of the funniest lines in film history. It's just the way his mouth opens so wide to say it. And okay. Sorry. They literally wrote just wrote sorry. Barry Watson feeling the role of a woman a little too much there, I think. Got into it very well by the looks of it. He seemed quite good as a woman. Really is a pretty boy. Oh, wow. Good laughs in the film. It's cute, rude, funny, and just idiotic, and I loved every minute of it. Do it again. Do it again. I will not say anything about the plot of the movie. I just wanted to acknowledge those couple of bits of acting technique. Ha ha ha. I love it when you braid my hair, in quotes, like they just quoted the movie for you.
I love how this is the movie where you don't want to give away any of the plot.
Yeah. Spoiler
No
alert.
synopsis. You're walking completely blind.
Okay, guys. Thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Thought-provoking. This movie brings up many deep topics, and while it doesn't deal with them, it does make you think. Everything is there. Questions of gender, sexuality, labels and definitions, sexism and feminism, and even rape issues. See, this person gets it, Grace. Jesus. The movie glosses over them, but it's still a lot of fun. Michael Rosenbaum is one of the prettiest girls ever. Adina is a dyke icon. Memorize and ponder.
Memorize
It
or
says
mesmerize?
memorize and ponder.
No, memorize
Oh,
and ponder.
okay.
And the transformation and problems she encounters make for some very interesting moments. Deep, thought-provoking fan discussion can be found online. Oh, really?
Do they give a link?
We're going to be one of them. Including many assumptions and pretend sequels about how the future went for the main characters. Oh my god, we gotta find this. So don't just look on the shallow surface. Think into the deep layers. Layers. As in there's more than one. There's 9. See? Okay, this one. We're on the second. I think we're near the final countdown, guys. Fine holiday fun. 8 stars, Chris.
Holiday fun.
Yeah, holiday fun.
Okay.
I'm one of those chicks that can appreciate a good film for what it is. Lately, I've been done to death with movies like Beautiful Mind and Monsters Ball. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoy a good drama from time to time, but my tear ducts were begging for a vacation. Sorority Boys is a perfect mental margarita for the person who has had enough drama. It's kind of brainless and stupid at times, but it's also really funny watching guys trying to be girls. I was particularly taken with the performance of Michael Rosenbaum, who not only stole the show, when the job was obviously Harland Williams, but made it more fun to watch. Speaking as a female of the species,
These people are so fucking weird.
speaking as a female of the species, I was surprised that some of the women were offended by the movie. So there are a lot of gratuitous boob shots. So what? So what? Personally, the nudity doesn't offend me. The fact that none of the men are naked offends me. Yeah, that's true. Kevin Bacon has a giant speech about how men should get naked
You
more.
see the bubble dick.
Bubble dick. If a woman truly considers herself a feminist, she must demand equal rights and not be afraid to back those beliefs up. Where are the naked men? Harvey Keitel isn't doing it for me.
What was he naked in?
Bad Lieutenant.
Okay.
Harvey Keitel isn't doing it for me. Really, all the Sorority Boys is saying is we should all be a little bit more tolerant, considerate, and have fun. The best of both worlds. I enjoyed it, and I must check out Smallville as a result. They watched this and were like, oh, he's really good. I've got to check out Smallville.
What else is he in? Oh, Small.
Nobody's
I
talking
wonder if
about
it's anything like Sorority
No one's
Boys.
talking about Spencer or Big Johnson.
Okay. We'll get there. No, somebody did talk about Spencer. They said it was a dork.
I'm
But okay.
foreshadowing, yeah.
Vulgar and delightful. 8 stars. I thought this movie was a scream. It's an interesting variation on the old fish out of water plot.
Scream of horror.
Yeah.
3 college guys temporarily pose as girls and join the Delta Omicron Gamma dog sorority for free rent. Of course, they have to endure the indignities of rude remarks and unwanted sexual advances unwanted sexual advances, the discomfort of wearing heels, the miseries of not being pretty, etc. But there are several unexpected turns that keep the story interesting. It's silly. There are several It's silly and preposterous, but made me laugh all the way through. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating movie on many levels too. What are the values that this film exposes? I never thought I'd ever see a politically correct gross out movie.
That person is so wrong.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see a politically correct gross out movie. It also has its own sense of slyness that I quite enjoyed. The film pokes fun at sexual stereotypes in some unexpected ways that will no doubt provide food for thought. Hear that, Grace? Food for thought. I loved the music and thought the cast was delightful. I especially liked Michael Rosenbaum as the jock in drag.
I love him.
Everyone loves him.
I know.
And Tony Denman as the little guy determined to score with him. Harland Waynes grew on me. Like, that's the end of that sentence. Like, Harland Waynes.
Who's Harland?
Harland Williams, sorry. Harland Williams.
I was talking about like Marlon Wayans from White Chicks.
I was thinking about White Chicks. Harland Williams grew on me. In the Powder Puff football game sequence, he became my favourite character. I thought he was a riot. If you want Citizen Kane, this is not the flick.
He's in it for 2 minutes, isn't he?
Yeah. If you want Citizen Kane, this is not the flick. If all you're looking for is laughs...
Citizen Kane is the flick if you want Citizen Kane.
If all you're looking for is laughs, this one will do the trick. I enjoyed this movie far more than I thought I was going to. I'm a middle-aged person who usually goes for art films. I like this movie a lot.
I'm really writing that. I am a middle-aged person.
Okay, so I've done something a bit different here, guys.
Ooh.
We'll see if it works. But I went through the behind the scenes and got audio clips from the director of the movie. What's his name, Bartek? You know how to pronounce it better than I do.
Oh, yeah, it was here somewhere.
It's like Wolanowski or something.
Wolodarsky.
Wolodarsky. What's his first name? Wolodarsky.
I haven't found it. I just remember.
Wally Wolodarsky directed this movie, and I'm going to play, hopefully, if this works, an audio clip of the behind the scenes. Now, to give a bit of context to this is the director discussing his process of how he finally got to make this feature film, that he used to try and write his own films but eventually gave up and went to Hollywood to be a director. But first off, we'll get to that one. But I really want to play one that essentially sums up the kind of director he is. Now, remember, this film has a lot of thought process behind it, Grace. So let's hear this.
When he gets kneed in the crotch, it's not that big a deal to you, but when he gets punched in the breast, that's like the ooh.
Okay. Okay. You're wrong.
So,
What do you mean?
So, yeah, that was a behind the scenes basically saying, yeah, if you get punched in the crotch, don't react too hard. Punched in the breast, that's when you react.
I am appalled by the tit punch. What do you mean, Mr. Wolodarski?
Alright, let's hear from Wally a bit more here.
Since then, sort of financing my life by doing rewrites and writing scripts that nobody wants, and kind of trying to get another movie going. And finally, I just said, I'm just gonna look at other people's scripts, and it's not like people were even offering me scripts, but I'm just gonna go in and read scripts and go into studios and be the Fuller Brush man, just make a sales pitch about why this person, this seemingly unqualified person, should be allowed to take $15 million of the studio's money and make a movie.
Yeah.
This man is a con artist.
This man's got a very assertive voice.
Okay, so yeah, he's a con artist, according to you. But there's more people that worked on the film. This is the AD, the assistant director, and this is just a little, if I got the right one here, a little snippet of what he has to say about kind of where he fits into the big process. Let's see if I got the right one here.
I think the favorite experience is the erection.
Oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. His favorite experience is that. But let's just get a little feeling of him.
The first AD is responsible for listening to what the director and the DP want creatively.
Yeah, so that's the assistant director. So he's there to help. And now we're going to hear from the assistant director again about his favorite experience of the movie. It's also one of my favorite experiences of the movie. Here we go.
I think the favorite experience is the erection with the soap suds in the bathroom. We spent a day in the shower, and one of our characters comes into the shower, or is showering, I should say, and a girl walks in, so he's got her fake suds around his breast. It was the most absurd thing to have like 5 guys sitting at his crotch, like putting shaving cream on, and we're seeing the jockstrap, we're not seeing the jockstrap, and I would say that was the most interesting time.
That was the most interesting time for me.
I don't doubt that.
So, I did a bit of fun. Now what we do on the show is we talk about what we think the behind the scenes process is, and a lot of times we get trivia or we get some commentary and we bring them to you. But this movie had some behind the scenes featurettes with comments like those that just really stood out, and I've put together a little compilation of highlights of how I imagine the behind the scenes process is like, and what the real intentions of the filmmakers were for our own intellectual amusement here. So we're going to just listen to what I put together, some of the comments you just heard, some that you haven't heard before, and I've mashed them together into one beautiful story.
My job is really just, it's the best job that you could ever get. You get to just make all the final decisions about how the movie's going to look and what the actor's going to do, and you get to boss people around. It's awesome.
The first AD is responsible for listening to what the director and the DP want creatively.
When he gets kneed in the crotch, it's not that big a deal to you, but when he gets punched in the breast, that's like the ooh.
Okay.
The first AD is responsible. I think the favorite experience is the erection with the soap suds in the bathroom. We spent a day in the shower.
Why this person, this seemingly unqualified person, should be allowed to take $15 million of the studio's money and make a movie.
It was the most absurd thing to have like 5 guys sitting at his crotch, like putting shaving cream on, and we're seeing the jockstrap, we're not seeing the jockstrap.
My favorite part of the movie has been by far the shooting of it, the actual shooting of it.
How many dildos do you need?
$15 million of the studio's money. Why?
Very collaborative. I've taken anybody that had a good idea, I take it. You know what I mean? If somebody has a funny joke, I don't care where it comes from, I'll take it.
think the favorite experience is the erection.
My job is to take $15 million of the studio's money.
My job is really just the best job that you ever get.
I hope you guys are happy I put in that much effort. I just was like, I need to put in a lot of effort for this episode. I felt like this one
This film
needed
deserves
more.
it.
I think it did. Do you agree, Bartek? Do you think that that's an accurate representation of what the behind the scenes process thought was like? I think it is. How many dildos do you need? Is a question that was actually... That is something that not even we thought would be a question asked behind the scenes, and there it is.
And there it is.
There it is. I wish that we were there. Don't you ever wish that we were there to see the behind the scenes of these movies so we can come here with a different kind of mindset? Like, don't you wish one of the movies or one of the ones coming up we could have seen the making of and be a part of it so we can come here and give a kind of like, yeah, this is actually how it is. This is why the guy who wrote this. It would be great. Don't you agree, Bartek?
Of course.
Of course I agree.
Of course I agree. Well, you guys, Grace, it's been good to have you.
It's been
Sister?
good being here.
Sister?
Stop that.
Sister girl?
Sister girl? Sister woman?
What was the Steve Tyler song we came up with? It's like,
Daughter is a son, son is a daughter.
it was like, leave. It was like, leave her alone, she's my son. Leave her alone, she's my son.
I
So-
don't like how you lumped me in with that. No, you came up with that.
I loved it. But you guys, it's been great to have you on again, Grace. I know that this movie offended you on a level, but it also enlightened you, I think. I see you walking out of here with a bigger grin on your face and almost dead. And Bartek, it's always wonderful to be in your company, of course. The next film we do, I'm sure, will be a blast to be on, of course. And, of course, it's been hard because we've been off for a week because of Polish Lent, where you're not allowed to podcast during Lent
Yeah.
in Poland.
And we're not
For just a week.
And we're not allowed to explain why during Polish.
Yeah,
And
we can't.
also,
That's why we didn't post on Facebook.
Yeah.
great foresight of the Polish people to realise the podcasts are going to be a thing and that you cannot do it during Lent. all
We're
those years ago.
technologically advanced. World War II just made us
If-
less so.
If you actually read the Gospels,
Like, we had hover cars.
If you actually read the Gospels, you'll realize that no one did a podcast during any point
Yeah.
of Jesus'
Yes,
story.
and if you read the ancient Polish texts, there's only a few of them because they mainly podcasted and stuff. And
Oh,
those
yeah.
were lost in the Second World War. Thanks, Germany. Fucking Germans.
Yeah, the Polish text is called Żabka je muchy.
Yeah. What's podcast in Polish?
Oh, you know, it's such a modern word, I don't know if there would
What's
be.
pod and cast?
Um,
Fine it. I know languages don't work like that, but in this case...
I don't know, Ryan. Podcast!
Okay, that's great. Bartek, you've been a wonderful speaking person. Grace, you've been alright. You've been alright.
Ryan,
no Ben-Hur like Beckham.
Ryan, you've been really, really,
I hate you.
really... Fuck you, keep going then.
I was self-conscious on this episode because I thought maybe this movie's too good. But Grace has reaffirmed my idea that this movie is in fact an unappreciated masterpiece. You guys have been fantastic, wonderful listening people. And if you're fantastic, wonderful listening people, don't feel afraid to give us a contact. We've got the Facebook page and the iTunes and other various things that you can be linked to, the Podmeme page. I'm going to upload some of those audio clips that we just played in that episode on the Facebook page for your free listening, so check it out. You guys, till next time, be pleasant to each other.
Jesus died for our movies.
Sexism is over.
Finished.